Please welcome your moderator for this evening. You loved him in Peter and the Starcatcher and Cinderella, and he will bring to life the beloved Olaf in Frozen. Please welcome Greg Hildreth.
That was just a long walk. I needed it to be covered. Thank you so much for being here tonight. I am so excited to be here. And I have the great pleasure of introducing two people that I am collaborating with right now. Kristen Anderson-Lopez and Bobby Lopez are our guests tonight. They are Oscar winners for Let It Go from Frozen. That's only the second film they've ever written, which is pretty amazing. The second film that I ever wrote, my mom has read. So, along with the book writer Jennifer Lee, who also wrote and co-directed the film, Kristen and Bobby have adapted Frozen for the Broadway stage. We begin performances at the St. James Theater in just 4 weeks. So please welcome to the stage Kristen Anderson-Lopez and Bobby Lopez. Hey, Greg. Hi.
I wish someone played intro music every room we walked into. Like a doctor.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm here for a checkup.
Come on now. Now, in the stage adaptation, you're going to hear almost all of the songs that you loved from the film, but Bobby and Kristen have also written nearly twice as many new songs. We're going to talk about the challenges and the rewards of expanding the most beloved animated film of all time, I feel, into a sophisticated Broadway musical. So the first question I want to ask is, how did this project originally come into your life? Talk about how you originally got involved with Frozen.
Well, before I say anything, I just want to thank everybody for coming out in this very, very cold weather to be here tonight. We're really, really honored to get to talk about it, and we're so excited to share this musical. We've been working on it so long, and it's so exciting to get to talk about it to people who love Broadway as much as we do. So thank you so much for being here.
And man, do we wish that this BroadwayCon had existed when we were coming up.
Oh my God, this would have been my thing. Maybe we would have met earlier. Anyway, how did Frozen come into our life? We had worked on Finding Nemo. We had turned Finding Nemo into a musical a long, long time ago. And then we worked on a little movie called Winnie the Pooh.
Really?
You're the one who saw it? It came out on the same day as the final Harry Potter. It was a rough one. But then during that time, they realized that we really liked to write songs and also develop story. And so they called us, and actually it was Bobby. I must have been home we had very, very little kids then, and for some reason you were in LA. And they called us and said, we want to talk to you about this musical we're working on. And he went and saw some pictures and got a pitch. I think you were like 2 hours late because you got lost, right?
I took a cab, and I didn't have a good sense of LA geography back then. I went from South Park to Disney. It took me 2 hours. And I got there, and the guy was like, we called Alan Menken.
We don't drive. We don't let him drive in LA anymore. But anyway, he came back from this trip and said, Kristen, you're gonna love this project. And they showed me a picture. I guess they came to New York, and they showed me this one picture, and it was a little girl. There's two little girls, one younger than the other, and the younger one was just looking in awe as her older sister threw snow up in the air in this beautiful sort of woodland scene. And I saw it, and tears popped into my eyes, and I was like, I know that's what we see in our own two daughters every single day. That incredible love that the younger sister has for the older sister, and the superpower that the older sister has in the younger sister's eyes. And we were like, we have to write about that. And that's really how it started.
I love that.
Yeah. You don't have to applaud that one. That was a rambling one.
And to speak specifically about Let It Go, which is probably one of the best known songs maybe in the world, I hear that there is a great story behind Let It Go.
Well, we were, when we first started, Elsa was the villain, and the story didn't work that way. And we basically changed all the characters around. We made Elsa, instead of being the wild child who kind of had ice powers and liked to cause a ruckus everywhere she went, we made her the buttoned-up one, a straight-A student with a secret to hide. And then we realized at some point in the story, we have to get her from this buttoned-up girl, straight-A student type, to the Snow Queen, the one that we had the picture of, Elsa in her amazing outfit and all that. We realized we needed this transformation song, and at first it was called Elsa's Badass Song. That was the temporary slot.
Our 8-year-old is like, don't say ass! So we call it Elsa's Bad Butt Song now.
And so Kristen really had a good beat on what this was about: power, female awakening to their power. And we were walking in Prospect Park, right?
We were walking in Prospect Park. Actually, we knew the words "let it go." The idea of like letting go of everything you've ever known, letting go of all of the promises and all of the people that you've worked so hard to please your whole life. That was a big part of the song, but the other part was finally letting go of all you've been holding in and letting your true power out. Sometimes you have to say goodbye to pleasing everybody in order for your power to truly come out. And that was what we were really excited about. And we were walking in Prospect Park and we jumped up on a picnic table.
Kristen did.
I did.
And I kind of blew in her face and she could feel the wind.
And we just started imagining like what that would feel like. And it was Bobby, actually. Any line that sounds like it could be sung in a drag queen bar is a line that Bobby wrote. Like, the snow glows white on the mountain tonight, not a footprint to be seen, a kingdom of isolation, it looks like I'm the queen. It's a little purple, and that, but in the way that he said it, I think it really does carry the weight. And then I wrote the stuff about, be the good girl you always have to be. I mean, what woman out there does not know what it's like to try to be perfect all the time, right? Am I right? And the idea of letting go of that, it was so freeing for us as, it's just me as a lyricist. Like, stop caring what people think! And it just sort of flowed out, right? So that's Let It Go.
Beautiful. And there are 8 songs that we know from the film, and they're much more interconnected than we realize when we're singing them at karaoke. And I'd like you guys to talk about some of the recurring motifs that appear in the show.
Sure, yeah. It all kind of boils down to Let It Go, and I think I'm going to head over to your chair, Brian. Hello. Now I'm over here. So after we wrote Let It Go, the filmmaker said, okay, we have to make the movie around this. We know this song is going to be in it. And so we felt free to use Let It Go to help create the other songs in the movie. So, for example, there's a part in Let It Go where she sings, don't let them in, don't let them see, be the good girl you always have to be, etc. We realized that was a callback to an earlier moment. So when we wrote the song First Time in Forever, that became that earlier moment when Elsa's up in her tower. Don't let them in, don't let them see, right? It's the same notes. It's the same exact tune. You don't necessarily notice it when you're singing at karaoke. But.
And that's sort of her motif of repression and kind of the mantra of like keep it in, be perfect.
That also appears in Do You Want to Build a Snowman in the in-between sections. It goes there's another part, which we like to call the dangerous theme now. That's also in Do You Want to Build a Snowman? And we use this theme, this group of notes, as a big theme in Frozen Broadway. You can hear it in a lot of Elsa's material.
For theory buffs, isn't that, it's the sixth, right? It's the sixth.
This part.
That interval has so much pain in it. And so that's kind of, we call it, it's really the seat of Elsa's pain. And anytime that we are feeling Elsa's pain, chances are there's a sixth in there. And then there's sort of the Frozen heart theme.
Right.
Of
I was going to say, in the bridge, that theme had been it was related to the very first thing we wrote for the movie, which was...
This was a song called We Know Better, and it was actually the two little girls saying, like, this is what a princess is supposed to be like this, but we are human, and we know better. We know that princesses are real, three-dimensional people. The song didn't make it in the movie, but all of the themes did, so that was good.
And then what else from...
Well, there was the Frozen heart. Anytime that someone is in sort of in mortal danger, there's this sort of Frozen heart theme. And this shows up a lot, and this provided a lot of DNA for us as we expanded the musical, that we could call on all of these different themes when we were deepening each one of these dramatic conflicts. Ta-da!
It also makes it easier when you're stuck for a song and you're like, what shall the musical material be? Oh, I'll just grab that from this song, and I'll grab that from this song, and we'll put it together in a new way, and it'll all be related.
Fantastic. Thank you. Now let's talk about Frozen Broadway and how you turn a 90-minute movie into a full-length Broadway musical. And what's interesting about the show is that almost every principal has a brand new song, and each of them uses a different tool of adaptation. So would you mind talking about Little Elsa and Little Anna's song in the first act?
Actually, yes, we're so excited because we got to deepen the time that we have with the little girls and what really goes on in that moment of trauma. Is there anyone out in the audience who hasn't seen the movie? Because then I can skip having to worry about explaining it. Okay, good. Okay, so, I see one person. You might want to just go to the food court. But okay, so we got to deepen the two little girls and really look at what happened in this moment, and how did Anna and who she is, and Elsa and the shame and the secrecy kind of lead to this moment of trauma where the family gets frozen into their roles, and it all begins with this one night, and building. You go. You talk, because I've been talking a lot.
We called it Recipe for Olaf when we were planning it, and it got a different title. But they basically build a snowman on stage. They're not building him out of snow. They use toys, and then Elsa casts a spell, and he comes to life. So basically, we're showing how the two girls put elements of themselves into this little guy.
And the stage mother in me wants to share the demo we wrote. Our kids do a lot of our demos. Our kids were both in the movie. Katie's the first verse of Do You Want to Build a Snowman? And we have them do this demo that we're going to share just a little clip with you, because I want you to listen for traces of Let It Go, because it's Elsa's playful motif. It's when Elsa is joyful, she's singing with these kind of intervals. Do you want to roll the sound file?
Ooh, it's my favorite part.
Is it going to happen? Do you have the sound file somewhere? Oh, we're not going to do that then. Okay.
Fine, I'll sing it. You'll just have to come and sing it. Or do you guys want to sing a little bit?
Yeah, we can do. That wouldn't be fair. We should sing a little bit of it, but you won't get to hear Katie and Annie. So you want to just do the very front?
Sure.
A little bit of you, a little bit of me, a part that loves to dream.
A part that swings from a tree, a little like me, a little like you.
A part that's nice,
a part that's naughty too. A loyal friend who is there no matter
what. With a big round belly
and a big bouncy butt.
We can stop there.
You want to play that again, and I'll just sing "Let It Go" to it.
Oh yeah, do you want to sing?
Yeah. Let it go, can't hold it back anymore. Let it go, turn away, and close
I think it's clear. There's pieces. They're connected. And again, what we're trying to do is make sure that everything we wrote for Broadway comes from the DNA of the original movie and all of the values that went into the original movie.
Great. And the very first song you wrote for Broadway was for Elsa, the first new song. And it's called Dangerous to Dream, and it's an interior monologue song during her coronation. And Kristen, you've talked about it in the past as an I Want song with a twist. Can you explain to us what you mean by that?
It was kind of, we have a dual protagonist kind of movie and a dual protagonist Broadway show, and one person has a very clear I Want song. First Time in Forever is a very straightforward I Want song, but how do you write an I Want song for a girl who's not allowed to want anything? And that was our struggle as we looked at the movie, and we saw that once you lost Elsa's close-ups in the first 30 minutes of the movie, we needed to figure out a different way to tell the story, because you can't zoom in if you're in the third mezzanine and see what's going on in her eyes. We needed to find a way to express what you saw in those moments of panic and those moments of longing and yearning to be herself. We had to bring that out in some way that was authentic and correct. So we wrote this song called Dangerous to Dream. Do you want to talk a little bit about it?
Well, sure. Why don't you sing it first, and then we can talk about it?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna sing just little snippets of these things, because we don't want to spoil it for the real experience. Okay. I'm gonna stand up for this one because
this is Elsa at her coronation. We kind of go into her mind as she's getting ready to have to hold those objects and doesn't want to let her powers come out in front of everybody, and everything is riding on this moment.
I can't be what you expect of me, though I'm trying every day with all I do and do not say. Here on the edge of the abyss, knowing everything in my whole life has led to this. And so I pull inside myself, close the walls, put up my guard. I practice every single day for this, so why is it so hard? 'Cause I can't show you I'm not as cold as I seem. There are things you cannot know, and it's dangerous to dream. And we're gonna stop there.
So can you play that dangerous? Just the melody. Yeah. Da 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 da. Right?
The dangerous motif. I really can't wait for the world to see how Michael Grandage and the beautiful production has brought that song to life. It is.
Not to mention Casey Levy.
And Casey Levy, oh my God. I cannot wait, because when we saw it come to life in Denver, it just took my life, it took my breath away. It was so beautiful, and I was so proud to be working with these incredible artists who took something we wrote in our basement and turned it into this beautiful living painting up there. So I'm really excited to share that, starting February 22nd.
And in the film, Anna and Christoph begin their journey to the North Mountain and bond during the famous wolf chase sequence. Obviously, you can't do that on stage. The Wolf Actors Union is very, very expensive hard to work with.
Plus, they did it too well in Lion King.
That's right.
Once you've had
That's
that
right.
wolf chase.
Yeah, you can't do that again, yeah. And so how did you guys find the solution on stage?
So, this is a fun one for us to write.
Well, basically we realized you can't do that. You can't do a big action scene. You don't want to. People following a musical story want to see emotion on stage. So we have this character of Christoph, played by John Groff in the film, Jelani Aladdin.
And you guys, in person, he is as sexy as you think.
Yep.
Yeah, he really is.
And of course he's got this glorious voice, which we really didn't use. So we wanted to give Christoph his due, and so we wrote a song that brought Anna and Christoph from meeting up the mountain and show it's more of a journey, like a philosophical clash over their approaches and philosophies of love.
Yeah, we were really excited to get to lean into this romantic comedy, and so and we put in sort of traces of our own sparring relationship in there, and we're gonna sing the first little bit for you right now.
Yeah, can we bring the lyric over there?
Oh yeah, sorry.
I'm not sure I know that one. So.
Are you gonna play it, or Brian's playing it?
Brian's
right?
playing.
Okay, you get a lyric.
Ladies and gentlemen, Brian Yusufer on the piano.
There we go.
Hit it.
You've got opinions on my life and my relations, but let me tell you what.
Okay, enlighten me.
Love is the one thing that has zero complications, and I can trust my gut.
Okay, you frighten me.
Some people know their hearts the minute true love starts.
Some people read a lot of books.
I like books. Some people simply know when true love says hello.
Some folks are taken in by curly locks and princely looks.
He does have princely looks. We can agree on that one.
Right. By the way, what color eyes does he have? All I'm saying is when you go to climb a mountain, you don't just jump to the top.
If it's true love, you can.
You're scaling and scrambling and too many steps for counting. And the work doesn't stop.
Maybe for you.
Love's not an easy climb. You have to take your time.
Get a whole life, that's the plan.
That's not a plan. Love's not a thing you get. It's work and tears and sweat.
So says a sweaty, smelly mountain man.
Love, what do you know about love? What do you know about love? That's way better when Jelani Aladdin sings the Christoph part.
Their chemistry is so great, although we just did have like a Sonny and Cher moment, and that was kind of fun. Hopefully it works out better for us. Okay.
So you've got brand new songs to learn and sing at the top of your lungs in the shower, which I'm very excited about for me and for
Our
you.
neighbors love us.
Yeah. And you've written a new song for Anna late in Act 2. And Kristen, is it true it's your favorite new song in the show?
This one is definitely close to home for me, and I think anyone who sort of considers themselves an optimist, this one, you know, optimism is a choice every day, and optimism often comes from having been lonely or sad, and then saying like, no, I'm gonna have a better life. I'm going to make a better choice. I'm going to go and I'm gonna do something. And even at her lowest, Anna is always like, there's hope. But at this moment, she finds herself behind a locked door, and she kind of looks at her life and looks at a pattern of always being shut out behind a door. And this is when Hans has left her. Spoiler alert. This is when Hans has basically revealed that Christoph was right. He was a scam artist, and she's kind of looking at this pattern and how this locked door led her here. And I guess I might as well sing it. Train. I sat alone in this room before, hours and hours on end. I know this delusional wish the door would open to reveal a friend. I know this solitude, I know this kind of cold, but I had faith in what the stories told of true love. And I have to say, we are so lucky to have Patty Mirren. She just is a walking, beautiful picture of human vulnerability. She just lets you into all of the joy and the heartbreak and the anxiety and mistakes that we have as human beings, and she just brings it right to that song.
She's funny as hell.
And she's funny.
And Bobby, you mentioned there's a hidden Easter egg in the vamp for that song that I never even noticed in all of the years we've been working on it.
Yeah, do you want to play that next to the one that it's like?
So anyway, True Love, I'm so excited for you guys to come and see this and see these beautiful performances.
There's one more major new musical moment for Elsa that's called Monster, which she sings towards the end of the show. But rather than sing it here, I know that you guys have an exciting announcement about Monster and some other new songs.
I have an exciting card to read. So this is something we've been cooking up since the fall, and we're so excited about it. Beginning February 23rd, which is Bobby's birthday, and for the next 4 Fridays after that, we're going to be releasing 4 of the new Frozen songs. What Do You Know About Love, Dangerous to Dream, True Love, and one you didn't hear here called Monster. Every Friday, and they'll be sung by our brilliant cast with the full orchestra, so you'll be hearing the songs just as they're going to be in the show, and you can listen to them wherever music is sold or streamed, so it will all be available. We're really excited about that.
Frozen Fridays. And now is our question and answer period. We have some questions that I think people have tweeted that we are going to take right now. And I have to look at the monitor. Not really a question. This is from Speech Geek. Not really a question, just congrats to Bobby Lopez on being one of the fastest to get an EGOT. Hashtag.
The fastest, so far. But not for long.
I also forgot to mention in the intro that as of Tuesday morning, these two are newly minted Oscar nominees for Coco. Which is awesome. That's one of my favorite kind of questions. Not really a question. We'll take the next question. This is from Amy Riz. What do your kids think about the two of you working together? Any funny experiences of you two writing music at home?
We all write music at home. We write these sort of weird commercial jingles together for things that aren't really products.
Oh, that's right. We do have some, what is it? Thrifty, thrifty. Our cars don't have that many ants. Every single one of us in our family is a songwriter, and actually, the girls are the first people to hear anything we write, and sometimes they have suggestions. And there was a moment in First Time in Forever where the lyric used to be like, "I hope that I don't vomit in his face," and apparently Chris Montan, I think, is here. Chris Montan was the executive producer of all Disney music, and he was like, "You can't say vomit. We're just not gonna say vomit." And everyone in the room was like, "Don't say vomit. It makes me want to vomit." And so we had to fix the lyric. But I was at the dentist during this phone call. I was also taking my daughter to the dentist, and she came out and she's like, "What are you working on?" And I was like, "I need to replace the vomit in the face line." And she was like, "What about I want to stuff some chocolate in my face?" And I was like, "That's a pretty good line. Let's do it." By the way, we were literally at the dentist. I can't believe chocolate at the dentist.
We will take the next question.
Very nice.
As a mechanical engineer, I love that Let It Go mentions fractals. How did you first become aware of what fractals are?
Jurassic Park, baby. If you read the book Jurassic Park, he has an incredible description of what fractals were, and it was a very formative book for
The
both of
butterfly
us.
effect. I know that from Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, I think that was the movie.
butterfly.
I read the book.
Oh, great.
But yeah, we were excited to put fractals in, and we're going to try and put more math in Frozen 2.
Great, next question. Did you always know that Frozen had the potential to make it to Broadway when you first became involved?
I don't know about that, but one thing we've always wanted to do, we've always been, ever since we met Tom Schumacher, we've been trying to find a way to get to work with him on something, because we've always wanted to be part of Disney Theatrical. And honestly, by the time we did start rehearsals for Denver last summer, it just dawned on me that it was happening. And when we were in that room with you and Kristen and Tom and everybody, I realized, like, oh, this is a dream coming true for us right now. We've been trying to make this happen in some shape or form for 10 years, and it finally is. And it, when that happens, your heart sings,
It is really good to remember that too. It's so easy to get caught up in the pressure or the anxiety. Every once in a while, if one of us can stay sane and go, remember, this is your dream coming true. It really helps keep us on an even keel.
Beauty and the Beast and Lion King and Aladdin are part of the fabric of our lives and our art form, and we just love we always dreamed we'd get to be a part of that.
And working inside of it now, I do have to say all of those things that you mentioned are all due to Tom Schumacher, who's really at the center of it all and is a real artist, and we are so lucky to have him as our producer for Frozen. So I think everyone should just give a big applause for Tom Schumacher. He's working really hard.
Next question. I have a question for Greg. Oh gosh. What's been the biggest challenge of playing Olaf? Gosh. Well, one of the things that I was going to talk about later, but I'll talk about it now. This is a great segment. Is that Michael Curry has designed these two beautiful puppets for the show. Sven the reindeer is this amazing puppet that is quite a physical feat. It's one person inside of essentially a reindeer suit. It's incredible. Andrew Perosi and Adam Jepson are splitting the track. These two like Olympians of the musical theater.
They plank
the
whole show. They're in a plank.
Yeah, on stilts, basically. Not a track for me.
They don't even let me plank at the gym because my neck seizes up.
But physically, there's a great physical challenge for me in playing Olaf, because he is this he's about maybe a foot shorter than me, and he is a bunraku puppet. So his feet are attached to my feet. I'm controlling his arms. I'm making him articulate every syllable that he has. But as a lifelong puppet nerd and geek, it is like a dream come true to be able to do it. But I am in pain at the end of the day. But it's a great kind of pain. Yeah. Next question. Did you make any changes from the Denver production to the Broadway show?
Ooh, I have an answer for this one. Yeah, we did. I would say there's about 30% that's changed since Denver. We listened really carefully. The gift of Denver was that we watched families. We watched people age 3 to people age 96. We watched family after family, audience after audience, and looked at what they were responding to and what they might not be getting. We had our own friends come and give us feedback. And there are people who are paid in newspapers to adjudicate our work, and we also listen to them, and had a second to process it. We came out of this giant tunnel of Denver, had a second to all go, okay, what do we really think? What do we really think? And then we had a couple months to make some really strategic changes, and I would say we changed about 30%. And I am very excited about those changes because I do really believe we took steps forward. And we'll see it on the stage for the first time February 22nd.
Great. I think that concludes the questions. And
you know what? We have you here.
Yeah, why are we singing?
I
Sing.
okay, fine.
Bees will buzz, kids will blow dandelion fuzz, and I'll be doing whatever snow does in summer. A drink in my hand, my snow up against the burning sand, probably getting gorgeously tanned in summer. We've got 4 weeks. I finally see a summer breeze blow away a winter storm, and find out what happens to solid water when it gets warm. And I can't wait to see what my buddies all think of me. Just imagine how much cooler I'll be in summer. The hot and the cold are both so intense. Put them together, it just makes sense. Winter's a good time to stay in and cuddle, but put me in summer and I'll be a... When life gets rough, I like to hold on to my dream of relaxing in the summer sun, just letting off steam. Oh, the sky will be blue, and you guys will be there too. When I finally do what frozen things do in summer.
I'm gonna tell him.
Don't you dare.
In summer.
Brian Yusufer, ladies and gentlemen. Avi Lopez, Kristen Anderson-Lopez. Thank you so much for being here. Come see us at the St. James and good night.
Thank you so much.
No, you'd be the one going, I'm gonna tell him. I'd be the one, no, let him go. I wanna see him.